What up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode. Once again, we're going to check out another sci fi story that was the basis of one of my favorite sci fi films. Coming up. So, if you're a sci fi cinephile, you've probably seen a movie that was based off of Philip K. Dick's story. The few that come directly to my mind at the top of my head are Blade Runner with Harrison Ford, of course, very popular one. Total Recall with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Next with Nicolas Cage, A Scanner Darkly with Keanu Reeves. And one of my personal favorites is Imposter, starring Gary Sinise and Vincent D'Onofrio. There are going to be major spoilers. I'm not kidding. So if you haven't seen this film and you're interested in watching it, I suggest you go do that and then come back. And the short story that this film was based off was first published right here in this June 1953 issue of Astounding Science Fiction. This futuristic story is about a scientist named Spencer Ullman who works for a weapons division called the Project that's on the cusp of creating a weapon that will turn the tide of a war against an alien race that Earth has been fighting for some time. One day he is accused of being an alien replicant who has murdered the real Spencer Ullman and is impersonating him until a U-bomb supposedly hidden inside him detonates. Thus, a cat-and-mouse chase ensues as Spencer tries to prove his humanity. The short story is only around 12 and a half pages, so the film added quite a bit and made quite a bit of changes as well. The characters of the Chancellor and Kale were purely made up for the film. Speaking of Kale, the entire zone was not in the original story, and it only seemed to be in the film as some scene fillers and to fulfill some kind of dystopian Hollywood sci-fi trope. The film still captured the questions about identity that is quite prevalent in a few PKD stories, such as We Can Remember It For You Wholesale, or better known in the film world as Total Recall. As PKD wrote himself about the imposter, the story ponders the topic of, am I a human or am I just programmed to believe I am human? And what does it mean to be human? The four important characters that are carried over from the original story to the flick is Spencer Ullman, his colleague Nelson, Major Hathaway, and Spencer's wife. Nelson is pretty much the same in the short story, and he is Spencer's colleague and longtime friend. Like in the film, we meet him early in the original story. However, he's in a transport car that comes to Spencer's home to bring him to work. Unlike the film, Nelson is in the short story a lot more, and he's even present at the end. The film reduced the character to a very minor character and killed him off not long into it. With Nelson in the transport car picking Spencer up is Major Peters. In the film, his name is changed to Major Hathaway. The scene where Major Hathaway tells Spencer he's a replicant imposter and even shares his memories is one of my favorites. The tension is palpable, especially when they show how they're going to prove he's an imposter by drilling out the supposed U-bomb like they had done to another replicant prior. A scene like that is in the original story, but it plays out very differently. On the way to the project, Peters announces he's there to arrest Spencer, and the transport cart they're in magically turns into a ship and heads towards the moon. And it's on the way to the moon where Spencer learns that they believe he's an alien suicide bomber. Also in that scene, Nelson helps Peters to accost Spencer in the original PKD story. So the whole thing about the moon was not carried over from short story to film. The entire story in the film takes place on good old global totalitarian run Earth. So the movie is pretty direct about totalitarianism. However, the short story subtly hints at it. Some examples are Spencer Ullman refers to the news media as being news machines or machine-like. And at one point he refers to them basically putting out propaganda. Another example is that Spencer Ullman mentions collectivism. Everyone was frightened. Everyone was willing to sacrifice the individual because of the group fear. Mind you that the backdrop of this story is a war with invading aliens, so that level of paranoia is warranted. I'm pretty sure if this was a real scenario and invading aliens were coming down to Earth, humanity would become a lot more collectivist and probably lose their collective shit at the same time. Fun fact, this story was written at the height of the McCarthy era, or better known as the Red Scare. What really emphasizes this collective fear, or heightened up collective fear, is the fact that Spencer Ullman, a high-ranking official in a governmental weapons program, isn't given due process whatsoever. Zilch. Even Nelson, his best friend of 20-something years, can't even fathom to give his friend the benefit of the doubt and have him undergo a simple exam or medical exam to freaking prove his innocence or prove that he's the real Spencer. Bruh. Spencer's wife in the short story is a very minor character as opposed to the film. Philip K. Dick didn't specify if Ullman's wife had a profession, so Veterans Hospital and her being a doctor was purely made up for the film. The movie also changed her name to Maya. In PKD's story, it's Mary, and she wasn't at Sutton Wood at the end of the original tale. Sutton Wood's one of the few specified locations that actually was carried over to the film. Both the film and original story mentioned it near the beginning. In the short story, Spencer mentions wanting to take a vacation there during the very first scene at breakfast, and it's his wife who informs him that some kind of fire happened there. In the film, both see that a fire broke out in Sutton Wood on the news that morning. And later on the way to work, Spencer tells Nelson,
"We went camping this weekend up in Sutton Wood. She loved it."
Lucky you missed the fire.
Who says we missed the fire?
Fire in Sutton Wood is an important element for both the original story and the film, as it's the turning point in which Spencer realizes that the fire happened because the alien ship crashed there. Proof of that would be the evidence he needed to confirm that the alien imposter never got to him and either died during the crash or in the fire. The film has Maya there as a plot twist for the audience to think she's actually the alien imposter threat when her body is recovered in the alien ship, and that Major Hathaway and the government made a mistake in translating the Centauri hit list that named Spencer Ullman. Then we get that second twist when the real Spencer Ullman's body is also in the alien ship. In the original story, Mary is not at Sutton Wood at the end, and Philip K. Dick has a slight moment to trick you into thinking that the body at the alien ship is the alien android until Nelson discovers it's the real Spencer Ullman after he pulls an alien knife out of the body. Alright, so that's that. Thanks for taking time out of your day and joining me. I'm really enjoying digging into these original sci-fi stories that were the basis of so many sci-fi films that I'm a fan of, and I'm surprised that I haven't done this earlier. This is actually the second one that I've done. The first one was Predestination, so you can go check out my YouTube channel and watch that video. I didn't get as in-depth of a comparison from the original short story to the film as I did with Imposter. But it does really make me appreciate all the changes and the different nuances that the film has opposed to the actual original stories. Alright, so if you could do me a favor, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I hope you have a good one, and we'll see you next time. See ya.